So, Deputy Speaker, do you believe action needs to be taken against people that were involved in the procurement process, but is there even a reason enough for investigations?
No, I think that one you also have to ask yourself. In law, there's something called the doctrine of ripeness. Is a matter ripe for prosecution? Was there an agreement done? Did anything go wrong? Did government lose any money? And also the Procurement Act talks about if you are acting in good faith, then it's not a, and even if you make a mistake, it's not a basis for prosecution. So I think what's important, that those are very, very sweeping statements. They are referring to an agreement. Yeah, but is there an agreement?
There was one for Ketrako, wasn't there?
Sorry? No, I'm saying, you know, I don't think like most people. I think I'm a lawyer, so I think of it in a way that if you ask me something, I just won't speculate and tell you, I think we should do this. I'll say, I would look at the facts. Is there an agreement? At what stage had the agreement done? Was it within the procurement agreement? Sorry, I'm saying, yeah. I do not know that for a fact. Yes, they're talking about that there was an agreement. I haven't seen an agreement. If I saw that agreement, if you give me a copy of that agreement and see where it has reached, what expenses were incurred by government, and how far government was exposed, I would give you a very clear legal opinion as to whether someone should be charged or not. But I can't just say it as a sweeping statement.
No, that's okay to comment as a lawyer, but when the president is cancelling the procurement process, but also...
Procurement process is the start. It's a negotiation.
Let me just finish. It was a procurement process for the Jomo Kenyatta International Airport expansion project. But for Ketrako, a deal had been signed and even announced by the Minister, Opiyo Wandayi, who even appeared before Parliament on that particular day and said that he does not think that the events in the US are going to affect this particular one, affecting the energy sector.
Yes, and that's what I'm saying. I would only comment on things that are facts within my knowledge.
Because the essence of this question, Deputy Speaker, is time has been spent. Kenyans have been engaged to the point of signing a program. Even if you don't lose money because it's a PPP arrangement, you have lost time and money invested by officials looking at those documents.
The operative word here is procurement process. Procuring is a process. Decision-making is a process. Do you know that half the time when you sit in public office, which I've sat in, is that you're negotiating things. You may find that only 30% of them are the ones that actually go to full conclusion. So that is part of the job. Because you can't just make the decision on a snap minute. This is required. It's like when someone is even during the procurement process, you'll find that there'll be an expression of interest. Then after the expression of interest, there'll be a feasibility study that will be done. There will be, environmental impact assessment that will be done. It will go back and ask for somebody setting out specifications, spending a lot of time and money to be able to come and present this. So it's a back and forth. That is why I'm saying the operative word is procurement process. Okay. It's a negotiation process, if you put it simply. So there is so many checks before you get to it. Sometimes you spend the entire year negotiating a procurement before you actually implement it.
Mheshimiwa Deputy Speaker, when you look at it, he also says that one of the quickest ways of dealing with this is to get investors from the country. This looks a bit untidy because these local investors were still existent even before we went looking for Adani.
I think many countries strive and work towards making sure that sometimes these public-private partnerships come from within the country. But I think in Kenya it's a tall order. We don't have that kind of resources. Countries like China do. That's why they have so much in excess that they are actually bringing their own private investment money from pension funds and equivalent of NSSF is what they bring in to come and invest in Kenya. I think going forward we still have no choice. We'll still have to go into public-private partnerships. That is my personal opinion. I just think the lessons learned from what has happened now is that it's important actually to make it public, probably advertise for requests for expressions of interest from anyone and make sure that there's some public participation and explaining to people that we need to fund the following projects and explain to Kenyans our transmission lines are coming to end of term, which means we could end up with no electricity like South Africa. And so, you know, we explain that. So I think public participation, explaining to the public, explaining which projects need to be funded, and then making sure you publicize and open up the ability for everyone to apply. And then as you're going through the application process, you can notify that the following companies have advertised. Let Kenyans be able to be sensitized about it. I think that's the way to go. I think that's the lessons that we have learned from what has happened now.
On the benches.
Yeah, if it is about the issue of Adani that the president talked about, which you've heard the former deputy president saying that, you know, even in cabinet, the president was constantly in support of that. I think what the president has done is demonstrate to Kenyans how gullible the parliament is. Because in, you know, 2023, they brought in this very, very harsh, you know, taxation policy. 2024, they attempted again. My comments on the floor of the House on the 2024 finance bill, I said that, you know, now that it is being led by the Gen Z, there is no leader. It's a leaderless movement. If you pass this, who do you call so that you can call off the demonstrations? I said it is going to be difficult for the country. Of course, I wasn't listened to, and we went ahead and passed the 2024 finance bill. Immediately after that, the president, when Parliament was occupied, he realized that it's not business as usual. Called members of Kenya Kwanza to State House, and then withdrew the finance bill, and all of them were there cheering him. And it was shocking because, I mean, they passed it, and he opposes it, and they're cheering him on. It's the same thing with the Adani deal. I will tell you some that, you know, we have talked about the Adani and how, you know, how it is not a transparent, you know, program. And the president has supported it. And, you know, he supported it because the Minister of Treasury, you know, the CS John Badi, has supported the JKIA arrangement. The CS for Energy, Honorable Pio Andai, has supported the Ketraco movement. In fact, on that very morning of Thursday, he was actually issuing a statement and saying they've done the due diligence and this group has been confirmed to be okay. The bidder is perfectly in order. And in the afternoon, even the leader of ODM has also supported the Adani deal. In the afternoon, the president pulls a plug on Adani, and the same parliament is up in arms there, giving him a standing ovation. Some, I think, he has exposed parliament for what it is. It is, you know, we unfortunately, a lot of our members are unable to make decisions on the basis of the fact that they were elected to represent the people, and they do what the executive wants. And I think what former deputy president told us, it is not honest, it's true, because on the same day, on Thursday, is when these Adani people were indicted in the US. So he probably was running away from the shame of having given the country's JKIA, given the country's energy sector, and even our health sector in the hands of a person who is known to have been going around bribing. In fact, we are waiting to get to know, because, you know, we don't want just pulling the plug on Adani. We want to understand, because the case in the US is that these Adani have been bribing government officials. We want to know who in Kenya was bribed and how much, and we want to know whether they'll be able to return that money.
You think there was bribery in Kenya?
But that's a case in the US. That's what Adani has been accused of.
Specifics with matters in India.
Yes, but you see, the minute they're being indicted because of bribing government officials, and you know the shady manner in which it has been handled in Kenya, no transparency. In fact, this thing was actually whistleblowers. Honorable Senator, you know, Onyonka is the one who raised it. It had not been presented in a transparent manner. So we believe that there are people who must have received some bribes for it to have gone the way it did.
Okay.